Hey guys. Okay, so originally I was going to put this in with my daily food vlog. And then I was like, actually, it kind of deserves its own video. I don't know how long it's going to be, but something I've been wanting to talk about. Um, if you spend any amount of time on this page, you know that I identify as a food addict. And that for me, this journey has been about health and not size. And that's true. Um, am I happier to dress a size 6'8" body versus a size 28-30? Yes. But that really wasn't the focus. It was health. Um, and also, I think if you watch the videos from the beginning, you're gonna realize that I am healthier and that I am much in a much better place. I still have fibromyalgia, but it is handled much better, and I'm on no medicines for it. So, and I'm not saying that everybody who loses weight, if you have health issues, you'll be able to get off your medication, and I'm not saying anything like that, but for me, the side effects of the medication are not worth being on it because I can handle it with exercise and persistence and just getting through it now that I am healthier and I move my body and I am smaller. Okay, that. But I really want to talk about sobriety. I've been wanting to talk about it. There are some things. One, I have been clean and sober, and I talk about it being hard to define sobriety because food is not something you can just abstain from. So you really need to know and be honest with yourself about what your trigger foods and what your use foods are. As a food addict, it is my belief that we can use any food to appease our addiction. However, there are foods that you know trigger more usage and that are definitely your go-to drug foods. For me, that is fast food hamburgers and sandwiches, not Subway. Um, and all right, so and like fast food, like fried chicken, fast food is a problem for me. Um, So I put that on my no, I cannot list. This is how I'm defining sobriety. I am not going to eat hamburgers or like those or sandwiches of that type. Um, I'm not. And at first, Taco Bell was not on my list. It's not really a restricted food. It's just one I'm not 100% sure about. So I have avoided it for a year. Um, but it's not one that if I ate, I would feel as though I was no longer sober. Okay. In the past, I was a smoker. I smoked for many, many, many years. And for me, driving was a really big deal, especially after the hurricane. I drove hours to get from work to home and to family where we used to all just be really close. And quitting smoking was really more about finding something else to do while I drove, which was weird. I thought it was going to be this big deal and it wasn't. But quitting food was so much harder. And I had set myself up for failure several times. I would say, oh, I'm going to do it where I eat really good, but on Fridays I can have whatever I want. Oh, I'm going to do it really, really good, but I can eat fast food just only one meal a week. Well, if there's a reason, then I can have it, but I can't just have it. And stuff like that. That is your addiction talking. That is your desire to not change talking. It is building in a trap door. It is like setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. And I did that to myself many, many, many times. The difference this time than any other time was I was like, this is it. I quit that bitch. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not. And I didn't. I have not had soda, any kind of soda or carbonated beverage or anything. And from April of the year, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, in 19 months, I have not had fast food, fried chicken, hamburgers, fish sandwiches, chicken sandwiches, any of that, not counting Subway, in 18 months. And I have not binged in 16 months. Now, I say there's a difference there because what I noticed early on was that even though I had taken away my addiction foods, I was still engaging in addiction behavior with healthy foods. So for those 2 months, I was allowing myself to binge and to unnecessarily overeat, like carrots and broccoli and just stuff like that, like just volume eat all day long. And when I finally realized that that was what was happening, I was like, okay, no, that's not okay. And so, yeah, I feel like this, and this, I am so thankful that I have been clean, and the rewards of that sobriety are health and size and a whole new outlook on life. I feel like whether you are 6 weeks clean, 6 weeks sober, or 6 months sober, or 6 years sober, or 60 years sober, I think that the biggest thing you can do is believe that you are safe. Because when you are an addict, you are never safe. There's never a time where it's like, well, I've been doing this long enough that I can do whatever the hell I want and the addiction won't come back. That's just not true. That is your addiction talking. And it happens to me. And I will tell you, like 3 or 4 days ago, I woke up one day and I was like, it came from nowhere, literally. I wasn't hungry. I plan my days usually the night before, so everything's set. And it was actually right before I got back to clean eating, which I think it was like my brain and addiction knowing, hey, if there's a time, this is when to do it. I woke up and I was like, you know what? I bet I could have a burger. Like, what if I pick the cleanest fast food burger I could find, and then I have that? I mean, that's not even really a junk burger, and I could have it, and then that would just really prove how strong I was and how good I was. And as those thoughts are going through my mind, it was like, whoa, I don't want it. I don't need it. Like, that is my addiction waking up, and my addiction taking a gamble and trying to get in there. And it was like, I knew I was going to be clean eating. I knew I was going to be like refocusing, but it was definitely like you know what? This is serious. Like, you need to really refocus, because that can happen. And it's so easy to think, it would be easy for me to say, well, I've done it for over a year and a half. One burger in a year and a half is not a problem. And I know many people from Weight Watchers who do that, who have whatever food it is once every 6 months or once every year or whatever. I can't. I know that I can't do that. There are some foods I can do it with, but I can't do that with my addiction foods. It's not okay for me. I do consider myself extremely blessed, because I feel like I flourish. This is going to sound kind of funny. Maybe it's because I don't know the right words to use. But I am at my best with other addicts, which I think is a gift from God. And what I mean by that is that there are many people, alcoholics, who go into recovery and then, have to live like they live their sober life, but they have to be completely separate. There are many drug addicts who go into recovery and then have to separate completely. And then there are some who go into recovery and find that that's their life work, helping other people recover, which can be really dangerous for an addict. It can be really dangerous to constantly be around somebody who is reiterating what your own addiction is trying to get you to believe, and who is engaging in behaviors that your own addiction wants you to engage in. However, something happened to me over a year ago when I did this, and it just clicked in a whole different way. I do not believe that it makes me immune. I just explained that. I do not believe that it makes me better than anybody else. But I think that there was something like a passion lit, and I really feel like I found a lot of my life's purpose in helping other people find sobriety and achieve it. And I am still working on how exactly I'm going to do that. I mean, YouTube is a part of it, but I want to be more personally involved with people's sobriety. I feel like I can help so much more, and I feel like that is a real and true blessing, and I thank God for it. Like, I'm so glad that I have whatever it is in me that makes me want to continue to be right in the face of it and continue to fight it. I don't want to be like, this is my fight, I'm done now, I need to walk away. I want to continue to be in the front lines and help everybody. And I will help anybody. I do have my own tips and tricks. Now, I never went to a counselor. I did go to Overeaters Anonymous, and I hated it because I felt like it was just people sitting around making excuses for themselves and then being rewarded. And I was very confused because I felt like if I went into an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and somebody was like, well, but then I went to a party and I got really wasted, I don't think anybody in that meeting would have been like, well, life happens, do better next time. It would have been like, no, whoever, that's not okay. We're here trying to stay sober. I mean, I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying, like, for me, that wasn't the environment I wanted. I didn't want to be let off the hook. I wanted to be held accountable. And I feel like, I mean, like, that's just how I am. Now, but like I said, I do have tips and tricks, and I mentioned them to people, and they're like, oh, you're, like, okay, in my Weight Watchers meeting for a while, they would call me the tracking Nazi, or like, oh, yeah, but she's the Weight Watchers Nazi, and it's like, no, it's not about, these are things that helped me, and I will never tell you what to do, but if you want advice from somebody who has been in the lowest depths of addiction, spending money I did not have, sick and disgusting, really, like, choosing my addiction over family and health and everything, I have been there, and I crawled back from that, and I can help. And there are suggestions that might seem extreme, but when you're dealing with addiction, there is no too extreme. It has to happen, or you will die. And that's another big thing. You will die. This will kill you like any other addiction will kill you. It just might not do it as fast. No, you're right. You might not eat 16 pizzas and die like that, like you would OD, but you will die. And your family will lose you, and they will suffer, and there will be no one to blame but yourself. And that is a very real situation that I feel like gets overlooked with food addiction. It's like, oh, well, you're going to get diabetes. Yes, and that can kill you. Oh, well, it can give you heart problems. Yes, and that can kill you. This is life or death. And it's just so overwhelmingly emotional for me. I look back at this year, and there's so many great things. And one of the biggest is that my birthday is November 23rd. On November 23rd, I will be 31 years old. And do you realize it will be the first year of, like, complete year of my life that I have spent sober, like, truly and honestly above my addiction? It's mind-blowing. And it's just so incredible. I feel like all of that energy I put into hiding and using and scrounging around has been completely reinfused into my life. And I put it into my family and my friends, and I put it into you guys, and it just keeps giving back again and again and again. So there you go. I like this actually got spurred from, like, I guess a misunderstanding of sorts, but it has been in my mind and on its way to you guys. So I'm glad it got here because I did want to put it out there. I will help, but it is extreme. I feel like I give people advice and they don't like what they hear. Like they reach out to me and what they want to hear is like, oh, everybody, does it differently, and well, you're gonna have to eat that cake sometimes and stuff like that. And it's just not that way. Not when you're dealing with addiction and not when you're dealing with sobriety. You cannot use life excuses or life reasons. And like I said, a lot of times they're very good reasons, but still you can't use them to engage your addiction. Not when it's a life or death addiction. So there you go. There's my 17, 18 month update on what it's like to be sober and on getting to this point. And there'll probably be a couple more about this because the whole hungry for more and the addiction thing has been in my mind and reworking itself. And like I said, I feel like it's a life passion and I really need to figure out how to use it and to channel it better because I want to be more involved. I love the fight. I feel like when you are fighting an addiction, and addiction has been in my family in many different forms for generations, and you're truly at the front lines of a war, and you are saving somebody's life when you are ending their addiction and helping them gain power and control. And I just think that's beautiful and amazing and something I want more of.